Welcome to Kayla's World. I'm Kayla Canoe, aspiring author, and today's video is going to be a little bit of a how-to for self-publishing. It's going to be more of kind of a basic guide from start to finish on how to self-publish a book. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and dive right on in. So we're going to start at the beginning. So this is probably going to be before you start writing or right around the time you start writing your book. You want to be thinking about your target audience, because if you don't know your target audience when you write your book, you may not be, gearing it towards a specific audience, which will make it harder to market later. You also want to have your goals in mind as the author. So be it whether you're, just wanting to get the book published and have it out there. Do you have a specific sales goal? Do you want to make a certain dollar amount? Things like that. Do you want to be a bestseller? It's good to have those goals in mind so that way you can structure your plans around those goals. And then you also want to be evaluating your book marketing services. So what type of marketing you're going to want to do for your book. What type of marketing makes sense for your target audience, just so that you kind of have a general idea of what you're going to do along the way with that. So then the next phase of self-publishing would be as you're writing or as you're beginning to write. You definitely want to build your author platform and your author brand. So whatever, social media you want it displayed across, you definitely want to do your author website. So you want to create your author website. So you want to set up any social media accounts and set up your brand. So if that's a logo, if that's a color scheme, you do want it to be the same across all of your platforms so that you as an author, as your author brand is recognizable. So you want to start getting those together. You also want to craft your book metadata. And so that's going to be the things like your book blurb that's going to go on the back of your book. That's going to be your author bio, so your about me that's going to go in your book. And then the basic subject codes, which are going to basically be what categories your book would be categorized in. So for an example, for me, my book is an adult book. It's also a dark fantasy book. So it would, be a fiction, fantasy, dark fantasy as far as the subject codes for my book. You also want to look into cost of distribution and figure out what the compensation will be. So as part of your metadata, you want to look into, what publishing avenues you want to do and what kind of money you would make as an author through those publishing avenues. And then you might even want to be thinking about your price point while you're looking into those, what you would list your book at. And then you also want to be building your email list, which again, you can set something up for that. So I set up a MailChimp, something you can link on your website, something you can send out on your social media. But setting up your email list or a newsletter is extremely important, because that way you kind of have that one-on-one traffic with your audience and there's not a middleman in between. You have direct contact information for the people that are going to be interested in your books. So get that started. And again, social media. So maybe look a little bit more in detail for your social media strategy. Maybe start implementing that strategy, being consistent with that, and creating content for your social media. Okay, and the next section of time, so the next phase of the self-publishing would be while you're writing, which would probably be, within 6 months of being published, or, within that 6-month period of time before you're publishing or before your book's ready to be published. You want to be researching book reviewers, because you're going to want to have your book reviewed when you publish it. So get a list of companies and what kind of requirements they have as far as being able to review your book, because there are companies that will review your book. You may have to think about sending out ARCs to some of those companies. So some of them do have longer lead times. So if you want to make sure that they actually are able to review your book before your book launches or around the time your book launches, it's good to know whether their turnaround is, 2 months or 8 months or, just a few weeks. So start getting that list together and make sure you know when you need to send them ARCs so that you can have your reviews in for when you launch your book. Look into influencers, bloggers, podcasters, anyone that you think would be a good source to, being able to send them an ARC, and they might give you a review or recommend your book to the people that are following them. And start a blog. So I did find that a lot of sources recommend having a blog, something that you would link onto your author website, and that kind of helps you build a following. I personally am not a blogger. I am not big on the blogging, which is why I'm doing YouTube. So I guess I'm vlogging instead of blogging. And then you want to create your media kit at this time. So again, that is going to be info about your book. So not just your book description, but any other information about it, any of your author information, what kind of book publicity, your professional author photo, and then, answers to common media questions. So that way, if you're doing research or if you want to do interviews and things like that, you want to have all of that information prepared. So like anything that you would send out, like someone's going to interview you publicly, so whatever information you want them to have to be able to post to give you publicity. So maybe it's, all of your handles to your social media, your website information, your professional photo, your author description, all of that good stuff. And then you also want to consider events. So book fairs, radio shows, podcasts, interviews, any other type of bookish events that could be going on in your area or that are applicable to your genre, or anything that is going to be fit with your book's message. Any kind of events, look into those, plan for those. Also apply to book awards. So if there are specific book awards in your genre or whatnot that you're interested in being able to have as something that you can list on your book, go ahead, start looking into those while you're in the middle of writing, to kind of have a plan beforehand. And then the next phase is going to be while your book is being edited, and obviously editing times change, so really think about, how long in advance do you need to book your editor, so that way you are getting edited before the time in which you want to be published. At that point, when your book is being edited, you should have an idea of being able to pick out your actual release date. So when you publish your release date, any pre-release strategies, you're going to have to really start thinking about how you want to sell your book, where you're going to sell your book. You'll want to consider putting links to, whether you want to have links to online retailers. So like on my website, I would have a link to Amazon for my book, or if I want to actually sell my book through my website and not have it going through a retailer, that's something you want to think about at the time. Book promotion companies, so if you want someone to help you promote your book for your book launch, any pre-release strategies, again, book tours, signings, other virtual or physical author events that you want to go to. Start creating your promotional material. So, any kind of video content for promotions, any kind of, photos, memes, book trailers, social media posts geared towards your promotions for your book. Any kind of collateral material that you want to give out, you want to have that designed and maybe start getting some of that printed. So like if you want to have bookmarks to give out to people, if you want little character art or stickers or something that you want to have as promotional giveaways to help promote your book, you should be thinking about those while your book is being edited and prepare for those. And then again, you're going to be continuing to research for reviewers or recruit reviewers. You probably want somewhere between 50 and 100 reviewers to be able to put reviews on Amazon when you release your book. So start getting that list together, maybe start reaching out to some people and, building that list of people to give you reviews, because your reviews are extremely important. And then the next phase of self-publishing, sorry if my notes are loud, is going to be 2 weeks before your release. So you're coming into that window, you're getting ready to release your book. Make sure you're checking your metadata across all of your platforms to make sure everything is correct and that nothing is wrong. Make sure that all of your keywords are right. Make sure all of your categories are right. Make sure, you know, there's not some kind of typo on your name on one of your platforms or anything like that. Make sure everything is correct online. Make sure you have your, set up all of your author platforms. So create your Author Central account on Amazon, connect your blog feed to that, set up your Goodreads account, and then at that point, if you're doing some, depending on what your pre-release setup is, you want to be checking in on your pre-release stuff. If you're doing something 2 weeks out, if you're doing some sort of video campaign, anything like that, obviously you would be doing that in that time. And then the next phase is obviously going to be your release date. So that's the exciting day. You might want to do a book launch, be it, physical or virtual. You want to make sure you're keeping up the momentum, so keeping up the excitement, keeping up the buzz, make sure you're posting things. You want to be watching your ranks and your book numbers on Amazon or wherever you publish. And anytime you actually, if you hit that bestseller list, you want to take a screenshot, you want to share that on your social media with your followers, just to help keep that momentum going and keep that buzz around your book. Update your social media and your websites and all that good stuff to reflect that your book has been launched. And then follow up on any promotions or giveaways that you implemented, because if you promise to give something away, you should give it away. And celebrate your book, okay? And then the last part would be the post-release checklist. So after your book has already been released, you might want to be checking in with libraries or with local bookstores to try and get them to actually put your book on their shelves. Follow up with any of your marketing strategies that you already put into place. If you decided to do paid advertisements, you want to keep an eye on them, see how they're working, adjust them accordingly. If you want to run any special promotions or deals again after your book has been launched. And then you can always reach out to any people that maybe didn't respond to you earlier in the process. So if you have reviewers or influencers that you spoke to before your book was published and they never responded, you can reach back out to them again, because maybe now you have some reviews and your book's got some traction and they might be more interested in, giving you a review or a recommendation or doing an interview. So that's basically what I got. It is kind of a general overview. I know I didn't go into a whole lot of detail about anything specific, but that is kind of the general overview of the self-publishing process that I got for you guys. It's a lot, and I might do some more videos in the future breaking things down and being a little bit more specific. But yeah, let me know if you guys like these types of videos. You can leave comments below, you can give me a thumbs up, you can subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos on Mondays. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed your time here in Kayla's World.